Hey everyone, it's technology expert Burton Kelso here with another tech tip to help you get the most out of the technology in your life. Today we're talking about how to prevent your email or email accounts from getting hacked. It seems to be a prevalent problem and it has been for a long time, but I think many of you out there don't know what you need to do in order to make sure that your email accounts are safe. The challenge is email has shifted from being used in a desktop application such as Microsoft Outlook, Windows Mail, or even Macintosh Mail to evolving to a more web-based platform. With email being accessible from the web, it means that your accounts can be also accessed by cyber criminals. So what can you do to make sure that your emails are safe? Well, with the prevalence of web-based email, there are several things that you need to do to make sure that they don't fall victim to cybercrime. So what do you need to do? Well, there's one thing that you should always realize about cybercrime, and it's this. 99% of cybercrime requires user interaction. And I know I've probably said this in a host of videos, but it's true. Cybercrime requires you, or most cybercrime requires you to click on a link in an email or respond to a text message or even voluntarily give up your information and even use weak security practices in order to prevent those email accounts from being safe and secure. So you always have to make sure that you get the knowledge in order to make sure that your computers, devices, and email accounts are safe. So I've got about 4 tips, I think there's 4, that we're going to talk about that are going to help you secure, lock down those email accounts. And one of the challenges before we go on is that a lot of times people think that their devices are being hacked when actually their email accounts are being hacked. We use our email accounts to store information, sensitive information, and whereas years ago that information was only stored on your device, with the evolution of IMAP and exchanged email and web-based email, it puts that stuff on the web. So follow these tips in order to make sure that you're staying safe and secure. So tip number 1 is stop using the same passwords for all of your online accounts. So yes, your Facebook password and your email password is probably the same. Now, if your email password matches your social media passwords and someone gets access to it, obviously it means that someone's going to get access to your email. So you have to get into the habit of, at least if you do any account, make sure that your password for your email account is different from all of your online accounts. But it should be said that with all of your online accounts, the passwords have to be different for every single one, because there are a couple of reasons why. Number 1, there are data leaks that have occurred on the internet all the time. And you may not know it, but it's possible that your email account has been part of a data breach. And if that happens, that means that your password could have been part of that data breach too for your email. So a favorite website that I always bring up is haveibeenpwned.com. And I'm bringing it up right now so we can play the Have I Been Pwned game. So switching to our desktop, there's the website Have I Been Pwned. So what you can do is to make sure that your email address has not been involved in the data breach. Again, usually if your email address has been involved in the data breach, it means that your password to that email account has been in a data breach too. So how does that work? Pretty simple. You go to Have I Been Pwned, type in an email address, and we'll do an old integral email address that I used to use. If we hit pwned, which means you've been owned, then you don't want to see this message. Uh-oh, pwned. It means that email address has been part of a data breach. And again, If an email address has been part of a data breach, it usually means that that password has been part of a data breach too. So what you need to do if you've been pwned, and if I've been pwned, is to change the password to whatever email address is been pwned immediately. Immediately, because chances are you're probably using that same password to log into other accounts as well. Another thing that you can go to is a website called Fighting Identity Crimes, and I'm going to pull that up real quick so that you can see how that works. If I could spell identity. And I found the website, so let's go ahead and click on Fighting Identity Crimes and switch to our desktop. Fighting Identity Crimes is powered by Easy Shield, which is antivirus software. But one of the things that you can learn from the website, other than these helpful articles, you can go to breaches and scams and go to breaches we're tracking. Once you go there, it'll show you all of the companies that have had their information hacked dating back to 2012. So if you're wondering how maybe a cyber criminal got access to your email account and password, this is how. Some companies accidentally leak information, as you can see by some of the data breaches that are here. So go to Fighting Identity Crimes and find out if your email account was part of a data breach, and go in and change that password for that account. Number 2 is the most crucial tip, and I know many of you are guilty of that, and that's you don't even think about sharing important information, sharing or storing important information in email. Email has evolved. I know many of you are using your email accounts as a storage or a filing cabinet, but that practice has to stop. If you store your information on your devices, that's a lot safer than just keeping them in your email. When I mean your devices, obviously I'm talking about laptops, talking about smartphones, talking about Windows or Macintosh computers. And there's a way to store those files on those devices so they're not floating on the web. So it doesn't matter if you're using Outlook or you're using Windows Mail or even Macintosh Mail. Your email is being synchronized to the cloud. That gives you the ability to go to a website and log into your email. Also allows you to open up a handy program on your device and access email. So why shouldn't you store important documents on there? Well, it's pretty simple. If some criminal were to get access to your email username and password, that information is not only stored on your device, it's stored on the cloud. And the cloud means that if you've got access to user credentials, you can access that account from anywhere in the world. Think about that. If you're storing your passwords, or if you're sharing sensitive information with people in your email, if that email account is breached, then people are going to have access to things that you think are going to only be on your device. And obviously that can be a problem when it comes to keeping your identity safe and personal to you. I've seen instances of people storing passwords to all of their online accounts in their email. Obviously there are people that have sensitive transactions with the bank or other financial institutions, or even family members. If that email is breached, it's a good possibility criminals are going to be able to have access to all of that juicy information, and they're going to use that against you. They're going to withdraw money out of your financial accounts. They're going to maybe use your passwords that were listed in your email to log into other accounts and wreak havoc and steal your money. So it's important that you don't store any important information in your email account at all, because it is accessible to anyone who happens to guess what your email password is. You probably is a good habit if you've stored personal information, or if you shared personal information that you don't want to get out. You want to delete those out of your email accounts and make sure that you empty out the trash can in your email so that criminals can't log in. It's hard to tell when your email account has been hacked, because it used to be if your account was hacked, you would no longer have access to it. But criminals have gotten a lot smarter now. So rather than taking over your email account they will just sit on it to see what types of information that you're going to share back and forth and how they're going to take advantage of that information. So it's important to not store or share any personal information in email. If you do have to share sensitive information, you want to make sure that you do it in an encrypted email, which is a whole another thing for another tech video. Or if you send it unencrypted, make sure that you send it and immediately delete it out of not only your sent items, but if you delete it out of your sent items and it goes to the trash can, make sure to empty out that trash can as well. If you need to keep that email, you can definitely do a screenshot of that email and store it as a JPEG or a picture file, or even as a PDF. You can even print that email as a PDF, depending on what type of setup if you have on your computer, whether it be Windows or Mac. If you're using Microsoft Office, you can definitely print to a PDF and store that information on your device rather than having it lingering in your email inbox or a subfolder in your inbox. It's tempting, I know, but you don't want that sensitive information stored in your email. Beg you, don't do it. Now, moving on to tip number 3, you want to enable two-factor authentication for your email accounts. It's probably best that you do it for all of your online accounts, but if you aren't familiar with the process of two-factor authentication, it works like this. Let's say that a criminal gets access to your email account. They try to log in, but it needs another step of verification before it lets them in. And that usually comes in the form of a text message or even an email to another account verifying that you are who you say you are, or challenging the criminal to verify that they have access to that email account. Now, two-factor authentication stops a lot of breaches when it comes to emails. So if you haven't enabled two-factor authentication, you definitely need to do it to make sure that your email is safe and secure. Now, the challenge is, keeping a short tech tips video, it is impossible to go into each of the web-based email accounts to show you how to enable two-factor authentication. So, if you're stuck, you can contact me, leave comments in the comment section below. Be happy to show you how to enable it based on what you're using for an email account. Now, our final tip is make sure that you're changing or turning off your security questions for your email account. Most email accounts have the feature or a feature that allows you to set up a challenge question if you forgot your password or if you need to reset it. Now, you can either turn this feature off and use two-factor authentication, or you can fib and become what I consider a cyber liar. Now, the challenge with these questions, security questions on email, is that many of them are based on information that you're sharing on social media already. Like, where did you go to school? What's your mother's maiden name? What was the first car you purchased? Trust me, most of those challenge questions you've probably shared already on social media. So why would you set that as your challenge answer? So the tip of the day is make sure that you become a cyber liar and create a set of challenge questions if you can't turn them off, so that you know what answers to put in there. It's always good to be a cyber liar, especially with the amount of personal information that is shared about you from other companies on the web. So if you lie, it's a good chance that your email and your other online accounts are going to stay safe from all of the cyber criminals out there. Now, again, I want to stress that I don't care how you're accessing your email. Trust me, it is accessible from the web. So you've got to change your way of thinking and make sure that you understand that your email accounts are being stored on the web and they can be accessed from any browser. Now, people who are using Outlook or Mac Mail or Thunderbird or any other third-party email program may not understand this. But also, if you're accessing your email from your favorite browser like Chrome, Edge, or Opera, understand that you're not the only one that can access that. Anyone who has your email account can at least log in to an email website and try to figure out your passwords, or they may already have it. And of course, most of you are using, or I shouldn't say most, a lot of you are using email accounts where it identifies what website to go get your email. So if you have a Gmail account, obviously criminals know to go to Google. Same thing if you're still using a Yahoo account or even an AOL account or even an Outlook.com account. Those websites or extensions at the end of the email let criminals know where they can go in to try to log in to multiple email accounts. Now, for my small business users out there, maybe in your best interest, if you want to keep that company email safe and secure, that you go out and purchase a domain name for your email and for your business. A lot of businesses, you probably already have a domain name if you've got a website domain. I'll see a .com or a .net or a .org, and people are still continuing to use free email account services like AOL and Gmail for their businesses, and its practice has got to stop. If you use a domain name, depending on the company you get your domain from, it can still be accessed from the web, but it's not as clear cut as if you have a Gmail or an AOL email address. So consider getting a domain from GoDaddy or any of the other hosting companies out there. Set up a secure domain name for your business and your email, and it will cut down on your spam, and it makes it a little bit harder for cyber criminals to get access to your email. So there you have it. So if you've got comments or questions on how you can keep your email accounts from getting hacked, leave them in the comments section below. Love to hear from you to find out how it can help you keep those email accounts safe and secure, and you feel free to ask any other tech questions that you have. I always have to throw this up here, but it's covering my eye. There we go. Be sure to like and subscribe. And I got it in the right direction. But yeah, if you sure to like and subscribe this video if you found it helpful, and share it with your family and friends so that they can get informed about the latest tech tips and tricks that will help them in their home and at work. I love technology. I've read all the manuals, and I'm serious about making technology fun and easy to use for everyone. So take care of yourself and do many things to make you smile. And thanks for watching.